Howdy gang, welcome to Sydney. Today is the 11th of December. It's a while back from right now, I guess. We're here at a Canon event, as you can see, to get a hands-on experience as one of the first people in the world with the brand new 1DXMkIII. This is my 1DXMkII that I have seen all of the world with. I have used this thing on so many shoots. I've made so much money with this thing. And today we're seeing the new version, the 1DXMkIII. It only just got announced. A lot of people have questions about it. And today I want to find out some of the answers to those questions. So we've got a technical presentation, then we've got a hands-on shooting experience, and maybe then some more. So let's go inside and let's go check out the new 1DXMkIII.
All of my team here today, so I'll just give you a little bit of insight after that area as well. So we've got a very long legacy.
That little M6.
But we've kept all the other buttons.
Just finished the I guess the technical presentation of the camera where we went through all the key specs. One that blew me away is the 5.5K raw internal recording at up to 60 frames a second, which I don't think a lot of cameras are doing these days. A lot of really cool new tech in there. Obviously this thing's aimed at professionals. We'll talk more about that later, but yeah, it is an exciting new tool and it's definitely a big step up from the Mark II. We're now heading into the studio to go shoot with it and get a hands-on and see what it feels like and see what it shoots like. Another cool thing, and it coincides with the high bitrate recording, the fact that you can burst over 1,000 frames in RAW and JPEG, that kind of blows my mind. Anyways, we're going to shoot some, I think, really cool looking stuff right now. So let's grab the new camera and let's get going.
Exchange.
Oh, wow. New, old. New, old. Hell yeah. Make sure I don't drop it. Pretty dope, man.
If you're in closer with telephoto, that's where the head comes
All right, frame rates. I keep looking for you. So I've swapped lenses. I was on the 1635, I'm now on the 2470. I'm going between stills and video just to see what it feels like. First impression, it's like my 1DX2, which is an insane workhorse, but it's so much faster in the way it responds, the way it tracks focus. It feels like more of an intelligent autofocusing system. I'm gonna keep shooting on this a little bit, and then I'm gonna try and come up with a conclusion to this camera because we don't have a lot of time on it, but I'm pretty excited. Okay, this is sick. That's the amount of photos we have left on the card, and that's the buffer. So even when I hold it, for how long? Have a look at the buffer. It didn't even hit the buffer. That's pretty cool. That new little touchpad on the back, the AF assist or whatever you want to call it, it's like a touchpad and it shows you, it goes green when it's in focus and you have these focus marks. Oh, wait, that said focus peaking. It's got focus peaking. Bloody good, finally. Speaking. I mean, a lot of people are going to be very happy with the focus peaking. Canon log seems to be, you can enable that in all modes, I think, in high speeds, in 4K. Focus peaking for manual is so nice to have, finally. So for photos, your max ISO is 819,200. I haven't seen that before. When I got the announcement for the event, they sent me a media kit about the camera, and some of the camera photos had an old USB port on the side. So I was quite devastated that they hadn't put in USB-C, but now we have a USB-C port where in the render the HDMI port was, and they've swapped sides, and I'm so happy there's USB-C in this. I want to have USB-C in all the things, obviously. So the hands-on experience is done, which was great. I got to shoot with the camera. It feels nice. It looks nice. I love the 1D series. As you know, I've been shooting on the 1DXMkIII. I always think it's 2 years, but it's almost been 4 years now that that camera has been my daily driver that I've used for everything. Something about the 1D series, the 1 series, it's the pinnacle, it's the absolute flagship of the Canon EOS camera system. This camera is not for everyone. It is aimed at the professional market. It's definitely not aimed at YouTubers. It's definitely not aimed at people that just look at specs on paper, because a camera is so much more than just specs on paper. I've talked about this in dozens of videos in the past. You will use this camera if it's the camera you need. If it's not the camera you need, then what's the point in complaining about it? Let's talk about some of the things that I really like about it, and then let's talk about some of the things that I was slightly disappointed about. All right, so things I really like. It's the new HEIF, H-E-I-F, whatever you want to call it. It's the HDR PQ HEIF 10-bit recording for stills. So this goes alongside JPEGs. It's a new format in which you have a better dynamic range. It's slightly bigger than a JPEG file, but it contains more data. It's lower, I guess, in information than a RAW, which is still entirely different, but it's there. It's the new, I guess, image format. I've got it built into my phone. I don't know how many apps can read it or edit it just yet, but the fact that it's in there means that we're, moving on from just JPEGs and RAWs. We have all this new stuff built in now. Hardware, I really like that smart controller, which is kind of like a touchpad or a gesture pad for autofocusing. It allows you to move around where your focus box is and where your focus is, and then just tap. It speeds it up from using both the wheels or the joystick on the back. If you're shooting sports and you quickly need to adjust, that minute difference in time will make all the difference when you're shooting. Someone's screaming here, I don't know what's going on. When you're shooting, for example, a finish line or a sports or action or whatever. So that's really cool, really easy to use, really intuitive, fast and responsive. Yeah. The new card slots, there's 2 identical CF Express slots in there. So they said this is a hardware, this is a format for the future. We will be able to take this for many years to come. The fact that they're identical means that you don't have to get different card readers and all that. You can just buy the same cards. And then the fact that really, really blew me away is that you can shoot over 1,000 frames simultaneously recording a RAW and a JPEG photo. Over 1,000 frames in bursts. So as you probably saw when I was shooting with the hands-on thing, hold it down, it's just clicking away, you don't hit the buffer, it's just writing it away straight away. It's super, super impressive considering how much data you're writing to these cards. Oh my God, shut up. Full frame 4K video, I mean, that was to be expected, obviously. Now that we can also use a crop mode means that with one lens you can have a slightly more zoomed in image, which is good, I guess. 4K 422 10-bit out over the HDMI, which is very exciting if you want to record with an external recorder. That being said, I think the pinnacle, the most exciting bit about this camera is the 5.5K RAW recording at 422 10-bit in up to 60 frames per second internally. The bitrate is 2,600 megabits per second, and it's quite mind-blowing how much data is there. It's raw video built into a camera that's not much bigger than a normal DSLR. I'm not sure which other cameras offer that at the moment, but it is super, super impressive. I have never actually shot raw video, but I want to try it out because there's so many things you can do with it. If you don't know what raw video is, you're probably watching the wrong video, but it's mind-blowing that we're getting that in this camera now. So that's definitely one of the key selling points of the 1DXMkIII. It's got Wi-Fi built in now. You used to have to get a dongle on the side, which was really expensive, but now it's built in there, as well as Bluetooth. If you want a... That's all good, no worries. Hello. No, that's all good. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in now. It used to just have GPS. It still has GPS, but now there's also these connectivities. If you want dual communication channels, you can grab that external Wi-Fi adapter. That means that you can download footage as well as control the camera at the same time. For example, you're shooting sports, you've got a camera behind the goal and you're offloading there and you still need to change settings, whatever. It's good that it's built in now. I think that should have happened in the previous generation, but the fact that it's in here now is good. The electronic image stabilization is really quite good. I've used it in my 6D Mark II, so pretty much because you have so many pixels, you oversample and then downscale. So it's an electronic stabilization of the sensor. It's digital. It's not a mechanical one, which has pros and cons. I'm just glad that it's there because the 1DXmkIII doesn't have it, and I was using lenses just then with the hands-on that weren't stabilized, but I felt like they were stabilized because the electronic image stabilization did such a good job. There's lots more really exciting things. There's lots more exciting specs. If you want to check out the specs, I've got them on the blog, which you can find below, or I'm sure you know the specs already because you're watching this video and you're a camera nerd like I am, so you've looked at them already. Something that I don't like about the 1DXmkIII, being a time-lapse photographer, there's no time-lapse mode. You still need to use an external remote. They have moved the port to the other side of the camera so it doesn't like poke your hand when you have that in. That was a bit of a flaw in the 1DXmkIII. It's now on the other side. That being said, this isn't the final firmware. I know Canon isn't known to include a lot of, big improvements with firmware updates, but maybe in the future, because it has been flagged with them that time-lapse mode would be really useful. It's built into the 62s, it's built into the whatever other cameras there are that have it that Canon's got, but it's not in here. So we can hope that with a future firmware upgrade, we get some time-lapse modes built in because Canon's really stepped up their time-lapse video mode game in other cameras, and I'd love to see that in the flagship model as well. I'm slightly disappointed that there's not an improvement as far as high-speed frame rates go. It tops out at 120 frames per second in full HD. That being said, apparently the sharpness should be better because there is a new low-pass filter in front of the sensor. I can't review that because we didn't get to review or take home any of the footage. From the back of the screen, it looked nice, but it also looks nice on the 1DXmkIII. The 1DXmkIII's high-speed frame rate footage, though, is not as sharp as it could be. That's one of the key things that people always talk about. It needs a bit of extra sharpening in post-production. I'm hoping that's better in the 1DXmkIII, but again, I was hoping to get like at least 200 frames a second in full HD. That would have been really sweet. One last thing that I know a lot of people are going to be upset about is the resolution. So it's a 20.1 megapixel sensor, which is the same as the old sensor, even though it is a completely new sensor. That's not a lot. Then again, go back to the point, this is for professionals. They have the entire range of lenses. They don't need to crop in as much. The benefit of having a lower resolution sensor is that your low light is way better, which again isn't a thing that I could really test today. I could review some of it. It looked pretty good, but we'll have to wait for the final verdict on that. Same with the dynamic range that we couldn't test today. But yeah, the resolution is 20.1. I wish it'd gone up to maybe 24 or 26, whatever. It's stuck at 20.1 for the next probably 4 years. And that's that for the resolution. That's my list of negatives, which is quite short as per usual, and my list of positives as well. I'm gonna think more about this camera and see if I'm gonna get it. Initially, I wasn't gonna get it, but with the performance for video, with the amount of data you get out of it with the raw video, with all these new things built in, I'm having second thoughts about not getting it. So we will see in the future if I get it. I'm still very happy with my 1DXmkIII, but the 1DXmkIII is definitely a big step up from the 1DXmkII. So, conclusion, what do I think of the 1DXmkIII? I think it's a bloody fantastic camera and it's gonna serve the professional photography industry insanely well. I'm probably gonna shoot with it a bunch more in the future. I really like it. I'd love to know the price point. I have no idea what it's gonna launch at. I didn't get any information about that. It's gonna launch pretty soon though. I'm excited to shoot more with it. It's a tank, it's a beast, it's reliable, it's speedy, it's efficient. If you've ever shot with a 1DXmkIII or a 1DX series, you know how good they are. It's the same for this one. It's not a camera for everyone. It's aimed at professionals. A camera is more than specs on paper. Go off in the comments. Tell me what you hate about it. Tell me what you love about it. Fight about these specs on paper and just boost the engagement on this video. Big thank you to Canon for allowing me to get this hands-on experience so early on before the release. Thank you for watching. Any questions, any hate, any love, drop it down below. It all helps. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.